I dare you, right now, think of the person who has hurt you the most. The one whose name alone makes anger swell in your chest. Do you dare? Feel it. That burning sensation. Now, what if I told you that feeling, that very anger, isn't the enemy? What if it's the key? In this video, I'm not going to teach you how to suppress your anger. I'm going to reveal 3 of Seneca's secret laws for you to tame it, to turn it from a monster into a servant, and you from a servant into its master. And finally, to find the true freedom you've been craving but didn't know how to achieve. To master anger, we must first understand our enemy. And the enemy, ironically, is incredibly seductive. There's a fatal charm to anger and resentment. Have you noticed? When you're angry, you feel right. Anger gives you a powerful surge of energy, a temporary sense of power. In a chaotic world, resentment creates a simple order. There's the good guy, you, and the bad guy, them. It's like a painkiller, soothing the initial feeling of helplessness. Our mind, in an effort to protect itself, constantly replays the film of injustice to remind us of the danger. It whispers in our ear, "Don't forget. Never forget what they did." And just like that, we're caught in a perfect trap. There's an old saying, resentment is the poison you drink, hoping the other person will die. You sit there in the dark, sharpening the blade of revenge in your mind, but the only one bleeding is you. The price is not cheap. It's sleepless nights when your brain refuses to rest. It's chronic stress, corroding your health from the inside out. It's the good relationships that start to fracture because no one can be near an erupting volcano. And worst of all, you lose the ability to enjoy the present. A good meal, a beautiful afternoon, a cheerful conversation. All of it is tainted by the dark cloud of resentment. It's no longer a feeling. It has become a way of life. Let me tell you the story of Alex, a talented architect. He and his best friend built a company from scratch. They were soulmates, partners, family. But one day, Alex discovered that his friend had been quietly draining the company, taking all his hard work and disappearing. The initial shock quickly turned into a raging fury. Alex's days were no longer filled with blueprints and projects. His days were a courtroom in his mind. He replayed the scene of his discovery over and over. He imagined hundreds of confrontations where he would deliver scathing lines, exposing the traitor. He dreamed of his former friend going bankrupt, disgraced, kneeling for his forgiveness. Those revenge fantasies were strangely sweet. They made Alex feel like he was doing something, like he was getting justice. But months passed. One afternoon, Alex sat in his empty office looking out the window. He saw people passing by, laughing, living their lives. And then, a horrifying truth hit him. His former friend was probably somewhere else, enjoying the money he had stolen. He had no idea and didn't care about the trials happening inside Alex's head. Alex realized that while his enemy was free, he himself was building a fortress-like prison, acting as his own warden and locking himself inside every single day. The walls of that prison were built with his own resentment. And in that moment, Alex understood that the problem was no longer how to punish his enemy. The problem was how to free himself. Alex's story is the story of so many of us. We think we're punishing others with our hatred, but in reality, we're only burning our own souls. So, how do we escape that prison? The key isn't to try and break down the walls. The key is to realize the door was never locked. And the 3 keys to open that door are Seneca's 3 secret laws, mental tools that have existed for 2,000 years but remain incredibly sharp. Secret law number 1, re-diagnose your target. From a villain to a patient. When someone harms us, our natural reaction is to see them as a malicious villain, a monster. But Seneca offers a completely different perspective. He believed, no one does wrong willingly. People do bad things not because they are inherently evil, but because they are ignorant. They are ignorant of the true good. They confuse trivial things like money, power, and fame with genuine happiness. Their wrongful actions, therefore, are merely a symptom of a sickness of the soul. Ignorance. When you see your enemy not as a villain, but as a patient, a pitiful person struggling in their own confusion, a magical shift happens within you. Anger turns into compassion. Hatred turns into a cold but non-toxic detachment. You are no longer their victim. You become a philosopher observing a human phenomenon. Emperor Nero, the student Seneca had poured his heart into teaching, eventually ordered his own mentor to commit suicide. In his final moments, Seneca was not resentful. He calmly accepted death, comforting his wife and friends. He understood that Nero wasn't acting from a place of strength, but from profound fear and ignorance. He was a patient of power, and a doctor does not hate his patient. Secret law number 2, and perhaps the most powerful: build an impregnable inner fortress by separating the event from the judgment. Seneca and the Stoics taught, it is not events that disturb us, but our judgments about them. He betrayed me. That is an event. My life is ruined. I'm a failure. I can't trust anyone anymore. Those are judgments, the stories we add on. Your anger doesn't come from his action. It comes from the story you tell yourself. Understanding this is the key to reclaiming all your power. You cannot change the past. You cannot change the event. But you can absolutely change the story you tell. You can strip the toxic judgments away from the event. Many will think, so Stoicism is telling me to be emotionless, to let people walk all over me. Absolutely not. Separating the judgment doesn't mean you condone the action. It means you refuse to let that action invade and destroy your inner citadel. Your mind is the only place in the universe you have complete control over. Don't give anyone, no matter how terrible, a free pass to wreak havoc in it. You can still act to protect yourself, but you act from a place of calm and reason, not from a place of emotional slavery. And finally, secret law number 3. This isn't a philosophy, it's a practical exercise, a tool. It is the art of delay. When anger rushes in like a storm, Seneca advises us not to fight it. Fighting it only makes it stronger. Don't surrender to it either. Instead, say to it calmly, wait, I see you, but I'm not going to deal with you right now. I'll give you an appointment. Delay your reaction for an hour, for a day. This delay creates a precious space between stimulus and response, and in that space, your reason begins to function again. Once you're calmer, sit down and conduct an interrogation of your anger. Take a piece of paper and answer these questions. What exactly happened? What is my judgment or story about it? Is this feeling of anger helping me achieve a virtuous life? What would a wise response be right now? Writing it down helps you objectify the problem, turning anger from a tyrannical master into a subject of study. And when you understand it, it loses its power. You'll see that the most intense rage is just a fever of the soul. And the best medicine sometimes is simply time and silence. Hearing this, a part of you might feel a sense of relief. Seneca's 3 laws, they're so logical, so powerful. But another part, the practical and skeptical part of you, is probably whispering, easier said than done. And you're right. This is the truth many don't tell you about Stoicism. Knowing and doing are 2 different worlds. Understanding these principles is only 5% of the battle. The other 95% is practice, stumbling, and getting back up. The goal is to make what you've just heard a habit, so that when it happens, your reflex is not anger, but to follow these 3 steps. There are 3 common mistakes most of us make. First, we intellectualize the problem. We understand the logic that they are patients, that our judgment is the source of suffering. But our bodies still react. Our heart still races. Our fists still clench. That's because anger isn't just a thought. It's a chemical reaction, a habit ingrained in our nervous system. The second mistake is feeling like a failure when anger relapses. You might feel calm for a day, a week, but then a photo on social media, a rumor, a random memory, and the fire erupts again. You feel you failed, that this philosophy doesn't work, and you return to familiar hatred. And the third, perhaps the biggest barrier, the justice trap. Your reason screams, but it's not fair. Why do they get to live freely while I have to struggle with these mental exercises? So what's the solution? First, accept that this is training, not a magic trick. Like going to the gym, you can't lift 200 pounds on your first day. Your goal isn't to never feel angry again. Your goal is to shorten the time it controls you. The first time it might take a week to cool down, the next maybe 3 days, then 1 day, then 1 hour. That is progress. See each relapse not as a failure, but as a data point. It's a chance to understand yourself better. So this is still a trigger for me. Good. Now I know. Each time is an opportunity to gather intelligence on your own mind. And finally, to deal with the justice trap. Remember this. The only justice you can fully control is the justice you bring to your own soul. By letting them occupy your mind with anger, you are allowing them to win a second victory. You are giving them free rent in the most expensive real estate in the universe, your mind. True Stoic justice isn't seeing your enemy punished. True justice is your own freedom and peace, regardless of their actions. Persisting on this path doesn't mean you'll never stumble. It means that each time you fall, you'll get up a little faster and a little stronger. So we've journeyed together. From daring to face our anger, to realizing the addictive nature of resentment, and finally to discovering Seneca's 3 ancient keys. You see, we've gone from being a slave chained by emotion, to a doctor diagnosing the soul, and finally to a scientist of our own mind. You've learned that the key isn't to desperately extinguish the flame. The key is to understand its chemical formula, to see the enemy as a patient, to separate the event from the judgment, and to delay the reaction so that reason has a chance to speak. That is the power of practical philosophy. Forgiveness, in Seneca's view, is not a weak act of grace. It's a declaration of freedom. It's the act of reclaiming control over the only property that truly belongs to you, your inner peace. You don't do it for them, you do it for you, because you deserve to live a life unpoisoned by the past. My challenge for you this week is simple. The next time anger towards someone arises, do nothing. Don't analyze, don't suppress, don't plot revenge. Just quietly say to it, I see you. I'll deal with you in 24 hours. Give yourself that space. Try it, and see what miracle happens to your power over it. This journey isn't easy, but you are not alone. If this video has brought you even a little value, please hit the like button and subscribe to Stoic Source so we can continue on this path of practice together. And finally, I'd love to learn from you. Of the 3 secret laws from Seneca we discussed, seeing others as patients, separating events from judgments, or the art of delay, which one resonated with you the most, and why? If you can answer that why, you are already far ahead of others. Share your thoughts and stories in the comments below. Because every story shared is a torch that lights the way for others who are also trying to find their way out of the dark. See you in the next video.